Plarium buffed the Chronophage set, and I want to talk about why it happened and go over the improvement. Hello everybody, I'm Roadblock, and this is a Raid Shadow Legends video. So, I might be a day late on my release of this video compared to a lot of the other content creators, because I was at work when the news dropped, but they did buff the Chronophage set. If you guys don't know what set I'm talking about, I wouldn't blame you. It was a pretty weak set in its original state, and it has a chance to drop from Shredder. Now, we're going to go over the stats and everything on the gear here in a second, but it has a chance to drop from the event dungeon. Let's talk real quickly. I want to talk about the changes that they made, and then we'll go ahead and talk about why I think they made those changes. And there's a couple of things I think to unpack there. First of all, you can see the before here right above my head. The original set, it was a 1 to 9 piece set, right? A variable set, and it wasn't particularly good. Now, this is the only official piece of content that I have about it. I've seen other breakdowns to kind of do it piece by piece by piece. I don't have that. So it's a variable set. It was 1 to 9 pieces, but you didn't get a lot of speed. Only 10% speed. Very, very low for a modern set, especially a variable one. That didn't bring a lot to the table. And then the immutable stacks, one stack would prevent 1 turn of cooldown reduction. So you could still like get your cooldown reduced even if you had 3 immutable stat. It was not a good set. Not a good set at all. Plarium made the changes, and they basically changed it where now you're going to get up to 32% speed, which I think is great, and 3 immutable stacks still, but the immutable buff will block any attempt to increase a skill's cooldown on a champion. I think it's going to be really, really effective and powerful, and the reason being is that is a bit of the meta right now is cooldown reduction. Listen up, I just got a new promo link that you can use to follow along with me on my latest free-to-play adventure and get a free Elenaril as well as 3 more powerful epics as you level up. Here's how to do it. Log out of Plarium Play and uninstall. Click the link in the description and register with a brand new email. Launch Raid and complete the tutorial. Go to your inbox and claim your first champ. Don't miss out on your chance to get Elenaril right after signing up, as well as Fayne, Uugo, and Tagoar as you progress through Raid. Click on my link right now and let's crush this together. If you think about it, with champions like Fabian especially are very popular. Anytime you have a fusion, right? And of course, it was a very hyped up fusion. Everybody looked at the kit and said, okay, this is the next Armands. This guy's going to be crazy. Let's grab him. So you have a lot of people that are running Fabian because he's just good, right? We also had Alice for a lot of newer players. They got who's another champion with cooldown reduction in her kit. So the Chronophage set would counter her cooldown reduction as well, although she's a nuker, so she tended to be a little bit slower, and you could probably just kind of outspeed her, where Fabian, being not a damage dealer, but a control champion, can be built very fast and get those lockdown cooldowns out there. So it definitely affected that. And then of course you have other really, really good champions like Yumiko and Crixia, who are also champions that will put your stuff on cooldown. So great way to counter them is the Chronophage set. Played it simple, right? Because past ways to do it were essentially really high resistance, which doesn't really help unless you had it on a champion that could bring the cooldowns back, because you can't really run a whole team full of resistance, especially not against a mythical like Crixia. So now with the immutable set, you have a champion who would be especially devastated by their skills being put on cooldown. You have a way to kind of fight against that, and you also have a way, if you have a champion that can adjust the cooldowns of your allies, you now have a way, and perhaps even a different build on those types of champions. So, for example, Kymar, who runs a very high speed aura in Arena and resets cooldowns, could be built fast, right? And in an immutable set that would allow Kymar to just reset everyone's cooldowns after they got placed, potentially. So you have a way to kind of ensure that he would be able to do that. So that's just an idea that popped in my head literally while I'm making this video. I'm not sure if it would really be all that strong or impressive, but I've definitely lost quite a few fights to Fabian simply because my abilities were on cooldown and I didn't have any way to really do anything. And they just kind of outlasted me because I couldn't really do damage, couldn't debuff, couldn't do all the things that my team may have been designed to do. Plus it goes through Stone Skin. So I do think that the new set is going to be good. And if I remember correct, I think it's in the 4th set is going to get you a reasonable amount of immutable stack. So unfortunately, like I said, I don't have any other infographics. I know they're available out there. I just don't have them in front of me. I apologize for that, guys. But, you know, I wanted to give you my thoughts. I definitely recommend. I watched the video where I got a lot of info from. I get all my news from is mostly from Nub's channel, Nub Raids. He's been a guest on the channel before. Huge shout out. We have the same first name. So he's awesome. But yeah, I would recommend checking out his video as well because he does have a much more detailed explanation piece by piece. I just don't have those infographics in front of me today. You know, like I said, in a couple of videos, now that I have a job, like my abilities are a little bit more limited. I don't have as much prep time for my videos, but once I get into the groove of things and kind of get adjusted to this new life, it'll be a lot better. So let's talk about the why. Why did this get changed? Did the old set suck? Yeah, absolutely. There's 2 things to this. One, I am going to further my ideal that Plarium is turning a corner when it comes to player satisfaction. I made a whole video talking about how I felt Plarium might be a little bit more player friendly in the coming months, right? And I felt this began with permanent free gear removal, bunch of quality of life updates, super raids for Minotaur, you know, all these things that are like several years overdue, and they're finally like, okay, our game is giving people too many headaches, we're gonna put this stuff in there, right? And so I'm gonna support my own argument there a little bit and say this is another example of it. But there's another message that I want to display here, and it's how you make real change in Raid Shadow Legends. And this is a shout out again to Blazin. I've been shouting him out a lot lately, but he's talked about this in the past. I've watched his videos on it and taken note, not notes, but taken note of it. And he makes a really good point. Plarium is a very analytics driven company, and they're not going to care about, you know, a bunch of videos that say their set sucks. That's not going to really move the needle for them. What's going to move the needle for them is the fact, and I assume this goes for a lot of other players, that nobody probably ran their freaking event dungeon. It wasn't worth the headache. I didn't care. Until today, I didn't care to get this gear. To the point where I procrastinated so much that I'm not going to be able to do the Shredder's Wrath tournament. And I did want to do it because I actually think that soul stones are going to be involved in upcoming stuff, but I just don't have the in-game energy, the physical energy, or the time right now to play catch up with that. I need to run something overnight that I know is 100%, and the team that I got working for that isn't quite there yet, at least not on stage 30. So I think nobody played their event dungeon. I didn't play it. Literally, I did not play it until today. Today was the first day, and I just did 1 to 30 all in a short while. Probably an hour, maybe, if that. Probably less. But I did tinker with some champions and stuff. So the point that I'm trying to make is I think that was a huge message to Plarium. Like, hey, we don't like this set, right? When you think about the event dungeon, you think of how impactful the other set is from there. I always get it mixed up, so that's why I'm looking it up. Pinpoint. I always want to call it Impulse, but that's the live arena set. So this gear right here, very, very, very useful, right? We all want this set. It's a great set. We'd love to get really high speed, some good accuracy substats on it, right? Would be awesome. Where the Chronophage set, I could care less about it. And given that I have been... By the way, a lot of you in the comments told me to sell all my 5-star, and I did. But I've been right up against 1600 for a long time. And to sit there and tell me that I have to now collect 20, 30 pieces of an entirely other set that was that crap, I'm just going to skip, right? Now that it's a good set, I'll probably go for it. Any extra speed sets are going to be really good, and for other champions that would especially benefit from not being put on cooldown, I do have quite a few of them that I think make sense. Definitely gonna push for that to be a thing moving forward. So I'm excited about the new set. I'm excited about the speed potential that it's going to bring. I'm excited about all of it. By the way, I'm not saying that it's like the craziest, fastest set or anything. I'm simply saying that it is a set and it's got more speed on it than it had before. So I don't mind coming in with that, because what does the protection set bring? Protection set brings 12, 12, and 8. Why do I have to do math? All I want to see is an infographic for the whole set that tells me the overall percentages of speed. Either way, you know what? Fine. I'll just do math. I know it's easy math, by the way, because it's so it's 32. Oh, it's the same. It's the same. It's the same as protection, because you've got 12 plus 8, that's 20, and then that's 32. Oh, well, I did math. Okay, yeah, so it's the same speed as protection. I'm even more impressed when I make that comparison in my head. Definitely not as fast as something like, say, 12, 12, and 12, right? So that's going to be faster, but not that much, and you're getting other benefits in there. So yeah, I don't know. I'm very intrigued. I'm excited to play around with it. So let me know what you guys think. Also, just a heads up, this video is going to come out, I think, Saturday, and my shard pull, which I actually recorded before this, got pushed to Sunday because I felt like it better for the news to come out and the shard pull to come out while I'm out of town. So, but I recorded them in reverse order, so it may be kind of weird the way that I talk in those videos. Either way, I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching. I wanted to let you know about the change in the set and why I think it happened. I think it happened because nobody played. Plain and simple. I know some of you did, but I didn't. I with no interest. Wouldn't touch it with a 3-foot stick. And now I'm like, oh, cool, yeah, let's do it. All right, thanks for watching, guys. I look forward to seeing you all in the next video. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. Take care.